Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. Zongwu. Killing Wei Xiaobao at the beginning and snatching his wife, comprehensive martial arts, world, Jianghu, villain, Shuangwen, system, upgrade, through the binding of the major villain system, in this martial arts world where martial arts are paramount, only by seizing the protagonist's chi can one enhance their skills. Wei Xiaobao. Kill me. Take his wives. Jiang Yufeng. Got it, it's impossible for the little fairy to keep the cheap little fish without chasing after her. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Crossing the Comprehensive Martial Arts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Leaving the big picture. Yu Huatian didn't expect to become a villain even if he wore more. Becoming a rain-turned-field. And it also forcibly bound the supervillain system. In short, let him be a bad person. Being a good person is not something he can do, being a bad person is not something he can easily do. Yu Weixian is the first one to take Wei Xiaobao for surgery. At this moment, the entire restaurant is catching high-ranking officials and officials, almost all of whom have been taken to the Royal Guards prison. There are only 1,500 people left in this area of the 3,000 jinyi. The numerous Jianghu people on the first floor of the restaurant, as well as some Jianghu guests living on the second floor, as long as they don't step up and pretend to be forced. Haneda did not target either. When he walked to the door of the first floor of the restaurant, he suddenly thought of Wei Xiaobao, who had already been caught and pulled over. Yu Weixian walked a few steps forward along the left corridor. Looking into the room. I saw Wei Xiaobao's pants dyed red with blood all over his body. He crouched in the corner of the wall holding his legs. After seeing Yu Huatian, Wei Xiaobao's eyes were filled with a strong hatred. Wei Xiaobao, who grew up in the market and tasted the warmth and coldness. He had developed his 3-inch sharp tongue, but he didn't expect the rain to turn the fields in front of him. He was extremely ruthless in his actions and didn't listen to his nonsense at all. He said a lot, whether it was kind words or flattery. Yu Weixian still uses such violent means to purify himself. Wei Xiaobao thought to himself. The last time I met Grandpa Lu Shi, I praised myself for being clever and clever. Now, I have truly become Grandpa. It was at this moment that Wei Xiaobao made up his mind. When he arrived at the palace, he must climb to the highest position. He wants to make the rain fields in front of him pay the price. When he thought of this, Wei Xiaobao, who was huddled in the corner, clenched his left hand tightly into a fist. Yu Weixian walked over from the door of the room. Wei Xiaobao, how are you? How do you feel? You can't blame me for this. You said it yourself and gained the appreciation of Duke Lu Shi. If you don't become Duke Lu, how can you get close to him? Yu Weixian, you can take me to Duke Lu's place now. You are also satisfied. Yu Weixian smiled. Suddenly, his face turned cold again. Let Wei Xiaobao tremble all over. There was another intense pain in both legs. You misunderstood. I didn't say I wanted to send you to Duke Lu Shi's side. What? Wei Xiaobao asked in great confusion. You didn't say to send me to Grandpa Lu Shi's side, so why did you want to keep me clean? Why? I just became an adult and I haven't married a wife yet, I haven't. I just said that helping you clean up was helping Grandpa Lu Shi. But I didn't say that I wanted to send you to his side. I will go by myself. Yu Weixian, you are really too ruthless. I remember Wei Xiaobao. Remember what can happen. 30 years in the East and 30 years in the West. Do you think you're reading a novel? Do you think you're dreaming? The Revenge of Wei Xiaobao. So you've treated me like this, what else are you going to do? Of course I will make you a filial son and accompany your mother. Where is my mother? Where is my mother? She's dead. At this moment, Wei Xiaobao finally felt despair. He was afraid that his previous clever mind had stopped working. He was trembling all over, his legs kept wagging and his lips trembling back and forth shake. Lord Yu, pacifier. I was wrong. Don't target me, I was really wrong. Rain Huatian said calmly. I really didn't target you, I targeted all the sons of luck in this world. As soon as the words fell, Yuexian's face suddenly turned around. That kind of indifference surprised Wang Xiaowei standing behind him. Miso. With a loud cry. Rain turns the field and pulls out the embroidered spring knife, a cold light flashes. A bright red blood rushed into the air. Bang! Insert the embroidered spring knife into the scabbard. Haneda turned around and left. In the shocked eyes of many other guards, including Wang Xiaowei, Wei Xiaobao, who was already on the brink of collapse. His neck was directly cut off by the embroidery spring knife. Head tilted backwards, drooping around the neck. Blood gushed out from the neck like a fountain. As Wei Xiaobao walked out of the house in Yuexian, he fell to the ground. Death without closing one's eyes. At this moment, the sound of the system suddenly rang out in Yuexian's mind. Ding, congratulations on the host's ruthless villainous style. Reward the host's green wing skill upgrade to the 2nd level. The lightness skills have reached the level of Wei Xiao, the blue-winged Bat King, and no one below the level of Grand Master can match them. Ding, congratulations to the host for earning 100 points in the store. As he walked out from this doorway, Yuexian felt happy in his heart. It seems that the big villain system also feels that there are too many enemies in Rain Huatian Tree, so quickly reward him with top-level lightness skills. Yuexian asked Captain Wang to catch everyone from the tavern and leave through the back door, quickly escorting them into the prison of the royal guards. And he himself led Wu Baihu out of the main gate. As soon as I stepped out of the threshold, I saw the merciless constable with a cold gaze. Yuexian's face instantly changed. I changed my indifferent expression just now and instead wore a sinister smile. I'm talking about being ruthless, little sister. Why are you like my follower all day? I keep up wherever I go. You. Yuexian, how did you speak? Isn't it? I'm on Zhuke Street, you follow me to Zhuke Street. I'm in Ghost City, you follow me to Ghost City. I'm in Chaotang, you follow me to Chaotang, even though I'm in bed at home lying up, you also need to follow in my room. Speak up, what are your intentions towards me? I'm too lazy to talk to you. Without hesitation, the wheelchair and iron cart quickly turned around and headed towards the distance, using their internal strength. More than 500 constables from 6 gates followed behind in unison. Lu Baihu, who was standing guard at the door just now, walked over from the side and bowed with a knife. Sir. You just entered. The ruthless constable came just now. She saw all the things you killed inside. I know she saw them, she had already seen them come. Also, just now there were 8 carrier pigeons flying out of this wind and rain tower. One of them was shot down by us with a bow and arrow, and the other was shot down by the constable of the 6 doors with a bow and arrow. What about the other 6? Did they run away? No, sir. The other 6 were all killed by the ruthless lord with hidden weapons. A subtle smile appeared at the corner of Yuexian's mouth. He thought to himself. The woman on this rouge list is indeed interesting. The imperial city of Zhou, the palace of mercy and peace. Lu Shi walked lightly and quickly headed towards the Xinang palace. His agile steps and steady breathing reveal his profound internal strength. Once you arrive at the Xianing palace. The other eunuchs and palace maids quickly left. The Empress Dowager lay on a large jade chair, closing her eyes to refresh herself. Empress Dowager. Lu Shi said softly. What's going on? Chapter 2. Killing Rain and Transforming Fields. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Lu Shi approached and whispered, blocking her mouth with one hand. That Rain Hua Tian led the Genie Wei to end the wind and rain tower of the ghost city. What? The Empress Dowager suddenly opened her eyes. Does he have the courage? Empress Dowager, you also saw that day that he killed the Minister of Revenue in the Hall of Supreme Harmony with his bone-melting soft palm. He had the audacity to be arrogant and domineering. And he killed the Madam of the Wind and Rain Tower and her son, including Lin Xianer, the top woman of the Wind and Rain Tower. The Empress Dowager sat up from the chair. This rain turns the fields upside down. How could you be so brave? Empress Dowager, do you think you want a servant? No way. After all, the Crown Prince has a legitimate name and attaches great importance to this Yuetian. If anything unexpected happens to Yuetian, the Crown Prince will definitely go crazy and fight back. Besides, I am not sure what the true identity of Yuetian is now. Last time I asked you to check, did you actually find out? Why does he turn bones into soft palms? What is his relationship with the Divine Dragon sect? I have reported to the Empress Dowager that I have indeed sent many people to investigate this matter. To put it bluntly, just a month ago, the former magistrate beat his son Yuetian to half-death at home, and it is said that he was unconscious for half a month. After waking up suddenly, it felt like a different person. But before this playboy Yuetian had never left Jinling City. It's really unlikely that he has a connection with the Divine Dragon sect. The Empress Dowager lay down again and swayed back and forth in her chair. What's going on this time? I feel like I'm going to be overwhelmed by the circumstances of this case. Report to the Empress Dowager. Previously, you had set up the theory of ghosts and gods by asking the servant to bring some sewage to the Crown Prince's body. However, the Tianji Pavilion used the Crown Prince as a cover. I heard that someone was sent to the Wind and Rain Tower, but now these people have been arrested by Yuetian and are still being interrogated. The Empress Dowager sneered. The Wind and Rain Tower really knows how to do business. It's a set of rings. It even brings Tibetans into the prince's carriage and brings them into the city. I want to see what can happen with this Rainhua field. Empress Dowager, Wei Chunhua, the procuress of the Wind and Rain building, has always been very sensible. She is responsible for your rouge this year and your lipstick in the past. Moreover, Wei Chunhua's son, Wei Xiaobao, was clever and sensible. Originally, the servant wanted to take him as his godson, but he didn't expect it. I can't swallow this breath. There's nothing I can't swallow. Just tell the Heaven and Earth Society about this news. Since he's the closing disciple of Qin Jin Nan, the chief helmsman of the Heaven and Earth Society, Qin Jin Nan will definitely not sit idly by. Do you still need the court to take action? Empress Dowager. You are really amazing. This way, our troops are not bloodless. We won't have any conflicts with the Crown Prince, and we can easily solve this problem of Rain Hua Tian. Tianji Pavilion, Skyscraper Cliff. Located deep in the Qinling Mountains of the Song Dynasty. Poison gas envelopes here year-round. The surrounding mountains and forests are filled with various mechanisms. At this moment, a masked man in black is rapidly developing his lightness skills and running on this towering cliff. He is almost very familiar with this place. You can easily dodge hidden weapons wherever you go. Arrive at the top of the highest mountain peak on the skyscraper cliff. He looked down at the vast abyss shrouded in smoke below. After selecting the right angle, jump up on this stone all at once. The light body spun in the air and kicked against the stone wall. Then grab the iron rope above and run quickly towards the ground. Passing through the white poisonous gas smoke shield halfway up the mountain. Come down here. At that time, another layer of scenery appeared. This terrain is vertical, and the cliffs on both sides are smooth and cut. The man in black grabbed the iron rope and ran down the wall. As we approached the bottom of the cliff for over 100 meters, He exerted force on his arm and tightened the rope in his hand, slowing down his speed to the slowest. Then jump up and down. Jumped onto a narrow piece of wood protruding from the stone wall. Countless pieces of wood protruded from the stone wall before his eyes. The masked man in black ran quickly along the wood. Keep reaching a large palace ahead. A majestic palace rises from the ground, with two ghostly guards at the entrance holding long halberds. On the far right is a huge black stone tablet. There are 3 big characters engraved on it. Tianji Pavilion. The masked man in black came to the palace, covering all the masked black clothes inside and outside guard. There is no obstruction to him. He went all the way to the depths of the palace and knelt outside the palace gate. Shout loudly inside. Elder Bei, there is a message coming from Jinling City in the state of Zhou. It's strange. Jinling has always been a place for pigeons to transmit messages, hasn't it? There were flying pigeons coming out, but I heard they were all killed. Recently, Jinling City seems to be very unstable. How dare we even kill our carrier pigeon? Elder Bei, this matter is of great significance. Would you like to invite the Lord? The Lord of the Pavilion is not here, he has traveled in the world, you can tell. Elder Bei, the wind and rain tower in the ghost city of Jinling has been taken down. What's going on? Elder Bei spoke calmly and calmly. We abide by the agreement in Jinling City. There are no assassins above the level of Grandmaster. Recently, there has been an restless lord named Yuetian in Jinling City. He led people to kill Lin Xianer, the top girl of the Wind and Rain Tower, and the Madame Wei Chunhua, and also killed her son Wei Xiaobao. There are always some people in this world who don't know the vastness of heaven and earth. Who is currently closest to the capital on our assassin list? Fei and Jing Wuming are both quite close. Let the 2 of them go together and bring back the head of the rain-turned field for me. Elder Bei, it seems that Fei, ranked 29th on the killer list, and Jing Wuming, ranked 30th, have never been at odds with each other. Isn't it okay now? Lin Xianer from the Wind and Rain Tower and the 2 of them are companions in the mortal world. Please pass on the news of Lin Xianer's death to them. Obey me. Also, go check what's going on between Yi Sanyang, the outer disciple of Tianji Pavilion, and Yin Lighting from Wudang sect. Why did I hear recently that the 2 of them eloped? Elder Bei, although our personnel in Jinling City do not have high martial arts skills, they are all extremely careful and alert people. They said that they have not seen any trace of Yi Sanyang and Yin Lighting since the note was discovered that day. However, they did see these 2 people sitting at the same table drinking when they were at the Wind and Rain Tower. Damn it. Elder Bei cursed. Yi Sanyang, as an outsider disciple, is really bold. She eloped. Elder Bei, should we inform the Lord of Yiguqing about Yi Sanyang's situation? After all, Yi Sanyang is her daughter. Don't worry about it, Yiguqing doesn't recognize this daughter for a long time. You go to Wudang and ask Zhang Sanfeng for me to see what kind of good disciple he teaches. Zhang Sanfeng says every day that he asks for his heart. Ask him, what exactly is he asking? What kind of heart is it seeking? Obey me. Chapter 3. Fear. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Early morning. The Jin Wei dungeon is heavily guarded, with torches burning fiercely on the cold marble walls. Yuetian, dressed in a red flying fish suit and holding an embroidered spring knife, walked in from the entrance of the dungeon. A gloomy aura rushed in from inside. As early as on Blue Star, Yuetian knew through movies, TV shows, and novels that countless people had died in the hands of the royal guards. The grievances of the unjust souls in the prison of the royal guards must be everywhere. Every time they pass through a stone gate, the Jin Wei standing beside them bows their heads and bows with their swords. Almost all the Jinui were filled with awe for the newly appointed governor of Yuetian. Yuetian walked to the innermost interrogation room, which covered an area of about 300 square meters and was adorned with iron chains, hooks, and various torture tools. The female butler and a group of servants who were brought back from the Wind and Rain Tower that day were all hung in mid-air with iron chains. Have you recruited yet? Your Excellency, I have informed you that several servants and the maid have all been recruited, but they have very little information and the situation is not clear. This female butler has always been willing to die rather than surrender. We were just afraid that she would bite her tongue and commit suicide, so we kept stuffing her mouth with a cloth. Sebdo is troublesome, it's a waste of time. Captain Wang was taken aback. I don't know what Yuhua Tian really means. Yuexian walked to the execution tool in front of him. He picked up a hammer about half a meter long and tapped it on the iron frame. Feeling unsuitable, he threw the hammer onto the torture table again. Immediately afterwards, he picked up another pair of tongs. This thing is good. Put the person down and use this tongs to remove all the teeth in her mouth. I see how she can bite her tongue and commit suicide. Upon hearing these words, the housekeeper hanging in mid-air trembled all over. When she looked at Yuhua Tian, it was like seeing a demon. Yuhua Tian's face remained expressionless, as cold as frost. He took 2 steps back and came to a large grand tutor's chair, leaning up. The nearby Jinyui quickly brought over the wine and glass, and poured a glass for Yuexian. Yuhua Tian only then noticed that in the dungeon on his right back, there were plum blossoms, orchids, bamboo chrysanthemums brought back from the Wind and Rain Tower. As he looked into his eyes at the plum blossoms, orchids, bamboo chrysanthemums, these 4 women were equally frightened. His gaze turned to Yuexian. The female butler who was hanging in mid-air in front of her has been released from the torture equipment. The Jin Wei picked up the tongs designated by Yuhua Tian. The housekeeper's face turned pale with fear. She shouted hysterically, Yuexian, you are a demon, you are a demon. What's wrong with demons? Aren't demons good? Demons are the most graceful in this world. The royal guards thrust the tongs into the butler's mouth and forcefully pulled out the first tooth. At this moment, the housekeeper collapsed and cried loudly. On the other hand, on Yuexian's side, he was still calmly drinking, his eyes expressionless. In the dungeon on the right side, the 4 women of Mei, Lan, Zhu, and Zhu were also very scared when they saw this scene. They looked at each other and whispered to each other. When this young master was saving us, I thought he looked pretty. Why was he so cruel? Sister Mei Jian, I really don't want to die. It feels unfair to die now. It seems like we have been treated as chess pieces by others. I don't want to die, either. Our sister's was abandoned by her parents and left in the snow, but now she has finally grown to this age. It's a shame to die in this dungeon like this. But seeing Lord Yu's ruthless methods is really frightening. I think we shouldn't rush. Mei Jian, the eldest of the 4 sisters, frowned and thought for a moment. Wait a moment, let's act on the situation. See if we can discuss it with Lord Yu. Under the instructions of Yuexian, all the butler's teeth were pulled out. She was tied to the pillar again, so there was no possibility of suicide at all. 2 genie guards are holding whips and vigorously whipping. But the housekeeper still kept her mouth tightly shut, just not speaking. Occasionally, blood flows from the corners of the mouth. Yuexian drank a glass of wine and pointed to the 2 genie guards who were using whips. Have you 2 eaten yet? This method of using a whip is even lighter than a woman's beating. The 2 genie guards were frightened and shivered all over when asked by Yuexian. No one in the entire team of the royal guards is afraid of rain turning the fields. Yuexian pointed to the nearby stove. Pour the boiling water on her body and use a whip. I won't believe it anymore, the mouth of Tianji Pavilion can't be pried open. Yes, sir. In the blink of an eye, as a pot of boiling water spilled from the housekeeper. She began to tremble and scream loudly. There is no longer the calmness we had just now. After boiling water, every whip comes down, causing pain to enter the heart and bone marrow. Finally, after 2 attempts, the housekeeper had already begun to beg for mercy. I say everything. Don't fight anymore. If this had happened earlier, it would have been better. I insist on eating these 2 whips. Tell me everything you know. This is a mission received by the Tianji Pavilion. The initiator of the mission is the Empress Li Qiushui of the Western Xia dynasty. He sent the quadruplet woman to Jinling Kyoto, mainly to bribe the old general Nangong Mountain of the Zhou dynasty. Nangong Mountain. The shadow of this person came to Yu Weishan's mind. He has a memory of this person, and Nangong Mountain has made some military achievements throughout his life. Once, when the late emperor was fighting the world, he was very brave. But since returning to the countryside, he has become debauchery. Especially after the death of the late emperor, he did not take the crown prince seriously. The reason why no one impeached him is because Nangong Lai, the son of Nangong Mountain, at this time, he was the commander-in-chief of the western camp of the state of Zhou. And the western camp is indeed located on the border between western Xia and western regions. Wu Baihu poured another glass of wine for Yuhua Tian. The housekeeper struggled and said again. There were 2 commercial routes opened between the western Xia and Zhou states. Nangong Lai, the son of Nangong Mountain, originally disagreed. Li Qiushui came up with this method to bribe his father Nangong Mountain. Although Nangong Mountain has been famous for his life and has made great achievements in battle, his lecherous nature cannot be changed. Especially the rare quadruplets in this world. It is even more haunting for him. He promised. Just send these 4 women to the capital city of Jinling. He will have his son Nangong Lai open these 2 commercial routes. What's wrong with that bone-transforming soft palm? The 10 guards next to the crown prince. Sir. I have reached this point and can never lie again. I am really not sure about these things. Our Tianji Pavilion only used the crown prince's carriage to send 4 women in. We had no intention of harming the crown prince of Zhou. Rain turns the field wine to the lips. He thought about this matter smoothly. This strategy is cleverly designed. I didn't expect that Empress Li Qiushui of the Western Xia dynasty would suddenly have an IQ online and not be busy with infatuated senior brother, there is no cliff. Instead, he began to manipulate the court. She wanted to send plum blossoms, orchids, bamboo chrysanthemums to Kyoto and found the world-renowned Tianji Pavilion. Tianji Pavilion arranged the quadruplets into the crown prince's sedan chair and brought them in. But at the same time, there were other people in the court who targeted the crown prince and simply resorted to using metal sodium and bone-transforming sponge palms. Sprinkle some unclean water from ghosts and gods onto the crown prince. In the blink of an eye. The housekeeper tied to the pillar began to vomit blood uncontrollably. Her mouth seemed to be choked with blood, coughing heavily. Yu Huatian said lightly. Put her down and put paper and pen on her. Let her write down everything she knows about herself and Tianji Pavilion for me. If I write it well and feel good, she will definitely have a good ending. Otherwise, it will be very tragic. Yes, sir. Yu Weishan stood up and came back to the prison where Mei, Lan, Zhu, and Zhu were being held behind him. With a wave of his sleeve, the group of genie guards around him stepped down one after another. Chapter 4. Conspiracy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mei, Lan, Zhu, and Zhu are different from movies and TV shows. When Yu Huatian was watching TV dramas, he had never seen them with quadruplets. I suddenly see it in reality now. Still a bit surprised. After all, there are too few women with quadruplets on the Blue Star. It's even rarer if these 4 people have such delicate looks. Yu Huatian sat on the stool in front of their prison and asked calmly, do you 4-skinned and tender people need to be punished, or do you need to be punished directly? We'll just say it directly. Mei Jian is more daring among the four sisters. She walked to the front and grabbed the iron railing of the prison. We are not from Tianji Pavilion, and there are no secrets that cannot be told. We are already being used, so please don't hurt our sisters when adults ask us what we know. Yes, Lord Yu. Our four sisters are really innocent. Please don't hurt us. You are all innocent. It's not my reason to spare you. Lord Yu, we are really being used. We have no idea. Please spare us. Our four sisters have been very poor since we were young. Yu Weishan stood up from his seat. His face remained calm as clear water. It has nothing to do with me whether I am pitiful or not. I never do business at a loss. If I spare you, there is no possibility or reason. Since you don't say it, then stay here. Yu Weishan had his hands behind him and turned around to leave. Wait, Lord Rain, we are willing to serve as slaves. We only hope that the young master can keep us alive. Yu Weishan stopped and turned back again. To be a slave or a maid? Will everyone be willing? Mei Jian bit his teeth. All four of us are willing. If what I expected is right, you four should come from the Lingzhou Palace and know some martial arts. At least you are also children of the martial arts world. How could you be so easily enslaved? My lord, we are not afraid of death. Our four sisters just can't swallow it. Yu Weishan turned around again with interest and sat down. Where can't I swallow it? Speak clearly. I might be interested. Although I also like beautiful women, I like to be polite. Disobedience to discipline or malice, even if she is beautiful, my usual choice is to destroy her. I don't allow others to get what I can't get. Plum orchids, bamboo chrysanthemums shiver with fear. When Yu Weishan spoke, his sword eyebrows and starry eyes were shining, and his face was full of evil charm. But it is such a handsome man who gives people a feeling like a devil. They are also very afraid in their hearts. Sir, we are indeed unaware, but we can tell some things we know. Originally, we were disciples under the Tian Shan Tong Lao seat in the Lingzhou Palace. But one day, Master Li Qiushui from the Western Xia Kingdom came to the Lingzhou Palace. We don't know what agreement they talked about. Later, Grandma, also known as Tian Shan Tong Lao, called us in and asked each of us to have a drink. Since then, we have fainted. We have been on the carriage since we woke up. At that time, we also recognized that the acupoints on our bodies were arranged by our grandmother, and all our internal skills were sealed. We had no resistance at all, so we were sent to the capital of the Zhou state. Listening to Mei Jian's account, Yu Weishan thought to himself. It seems that in this world, the multiverse does indeed exist. There may be multiple dimensions and timelines at a starting point. In each different dimension and timeline, different choices made by characters at a certain point can lead to various effects. The Empress Li Qiushui of the Western Xia Kingdom is a bit interesting, and the Tian Shan Tong Lao in the Lingzhou Palace is a bit interesting. Give me this gift at the beginning. So here's the question. Yu Weishan looked at Mei Jian and asked. Lingzhou Palace, it is said that most women are adopted by the Tian Shan Tong Lao, and you four are no exception. So since Tian Shan Tong Lao raised you four so much, why could she be so determined and suddenly hand you over to someone else? Zhu Jian has a gentle personality. She kept shrinking in the corner of the wall, after everyone had said a lot. She shyly squeezed out and whispered softly. That night, I was the last one to drink. I heard the conversation between Grandma and Uncle Li. Grandma seemed very happy that day, saying that in the future, junior brother would only belong to her. Junior brother. Yu Weishan reacted. Isn't the junior brother of Tian Shan Tong Lao the leader of the Xiaoyao sect, Wuyazi? It seems that Tian Shan Tong Lao and Li Qiushui have reached an agreement. Li Qiushui automatically withdrew and gave Wuyazi to her. No wonder. This is not difficult to understand. We have reached an agreement to take what we need. Li Qiushui took away the quadruplet disciple of Tian Shan Tong Lao. In the future, I will not participate in the fight between sisters and Wuyazi. This world is full of conspiracies and schemes, it's really fun. At this moment, 4 women, Mei, Lan, Zhu, and Ju, are kneeling in the prison. They were dressed in thin clothes, and the turmoil of their daily journey was also vividly reflected on them. My hair is a bit messy, and my face is lightly stained with dust and dirt. I have another question. Yu Weishan said. When you came on the road, did you remember that after you entered the crown prince's carriage? Has anyone ever used the bone-melting soft palm on the guards? The 4 women, Mei, Lan, Zhu, and Chrysanthemum, carefully recalled. After 3 breaths, Lan Jian was suddenly startled. I woke up once outside the city. At that time, I heard some noise outside, and a blue figure flew past the carriage. Where outside the city? What are the signs? There are many great Buddhas. I took a glance through the gap in the curtain. At that time, the carriage was parked. In a courtyard, there were many great Buddhas outside, and everyone else was asleep. I was also confused. Yu Weishan picked up his wine glass and took a sip. According to the description of this Lan Jian. So it should be at that time, among these guards, the bone-melting soft palm. Where are many great Buddhas? Still in the same yard. Isn't that the Beigu Temple 20 miles outside the city? No one in Jinling knows about Beigu Temple. Although it is a small temple, during the lifetime of the first emperor of the Zhou state, there was a large scale construction of a temple, and several great Buddhas were built here. In that case, the carriage was parked inside this temple at the time, and several guards were hit by the bone-melting sponge palm. There is a high possibility that what Lan Jian mentioned earlier is that the shadow of Qingyi is hiding in Beigu Temple. This case is nearing completion. In the end, only this person who can melt bones and soft palms is missing. Yu Weishan wants to find him and settle this case. As for his father, he died in danger in the 6-door prison. Yu Weishan never planned to investigate from beginning to end. This father killed the previous Yu Weishan, and Yu Weishan naturally had no feelings for him. Your Excellency, we, the 4 sisters of Mei, Lan, Zhu, and Ju, are willing to be slaves and maidservants. We want to live, but we can't swallow that. Sir, we have already explained this matter very clearly from beginning to end. We did not participate in this conspiracy, please let us know. Yu Weishan Enian controls his system store. He was rummaging inside, looking for a pill that could control people in the martial arts world. Naiha. There are currently too few unsealed pills. Looking around, I only saw 4 yellow candy balls. Sweet candy pills. Melting on the palate, refreshing and delicious, with special effects on teasing women and children, Yu Weishan's current villain points still have 100 points. He directly clicked to purchase 4 yellow sugar pills. Successfully purchased sweet sugar pills. Quantity 4, consumption points 8 points. Currently, there are 92 points remaining. Yu Weishan opened the iron door in front of him. He unfolded the yellow sugar pill in his palm. Take 1 pill per person and give me this medicine. Only by taking it can I have hope of surviving. Mei Lan, Juju's eyes showed a hint of fear, but no one dared to hesitate. Just now they witnessed the method of rain turning the fields. Since there is hope to survive, I no longer care about that much. Chapter 5. Soaring with Killing Qi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mei Jian first picked up the sugar pill and threw it into his mouth. The other 3 also followed suit. These 4 pills. They are my unique poison, and no one in the world can detoxify them. From now on, you will receive the antidote from me once a month. Without this antidote, your mind will become insane. In the end, he completely went crazy and destroyed his appearance, stripped off his clothes, and ran wildly on the road to pick up garbage to eat. Even kill other sisters out of control. Yes, master. Mei Jian knows. Yes, master, Lan Jian knows. Yes, master, the bamboo sword knows. Yes, master, Ju Jian knows. Master, can we make a request? No. Find out your identity. Can we make a request? Speak up. We want to ask Li Qiushui for clarification in the future. We also need to ask Grandma for clarification. In the future, I will take you to kill them. The Western Xia kingdom will eventually be destroyed. I will hold Li Qiushui's neck and ask her questions. Mei Jian. Let's go. Yu Weishan stood up, with his hands behind him. Mei, Lan, Zhu, and Ju stood up trembling from behind, also following behind. Yu Weishan walked to the position of the dungeon steps and suddenly turned around. After returning to the mansion, wash and dress neatly. Come over to serve in bed at night. Ah. Mei was shocked and pale, while the other three had very unnatural expressions on their faces. Ah, what? Yu Weishan's face remained calm. Do you think I am a righteous man who keeps calm? Since I am a slave, I should look like a slave. If any of your 4 sisters is unwilling, they can choose to commit suicide. Mei Jian is lonely and proud. She is more tenacious than the other 3 sisters. Upon hearing this sentence, the fists in both hands clenched slightly. She bit her lower lip, and as soon as she lifted her head, she saw Yu Weishan's gaze staring coldly at her. Mei Jian felt a chill all over. Yu Weishan pointed at Mei Jian and said coldly. When I come back from outside the city, I'll start with you tonight. If you don't agree or find fault, I'll kill your 3 sisters first. As soon as the words fell, Yu Huatian shook his sleeve and turned to leave. Just as I climbed up the stairs, the sound of the system suddenly rang out. Ding, congratulations on the host's behavior of being villainous. We adhere to our will and are not bound by traditional moral principles, rewarding the host. Ishan Wan. Ishan Wan. Can effectively enhance the strength of the waist and kidneys. Ding. Reward the host with 10 years of internal power. The host currently has 60 years of internal power. I have to say. This system is really sensible, and every time the reward items are just right. Yu Weishan felt very happy in his heart. After stepping out of the prison of the royal guards, Yu Weishan said to Wu Baihu next to him. All the information interrogated in prison today. If anyone dares to leak it, Lu, it's a capital offense. Yes, sir. You take the 4 of them to Yufu through the back door. Yes, sir. The ruthless lord of the 6 gates, accompanied by the constable, appeared at the entrance a long time ago. I never let them in. But it seems like they left again just now. Leave. Leave a ghost. Yu Weishan thought to himself. This heartless mind is a 7 orifices and exquisite mind that can read minds. How could she leave so easily? She must have gone to the back door. Yu Weishan waved his hand. Take them 4 in a carriage and leave through the front door. Yes, sir. Although Wu Baihu didn't quite understand, he still dared not have any doubts. Yu Weishan led numerous imperial guards towards the back door of the mansion. Wu, on the other hand, used carriages to cover the plum, orchids, bamboo, and chrysanthemums and left the front door of the genie guard. As soon as Yu Weishan arrived at the back gate, about 20 constables with 6 doors stood on either side. All remained motionless. The catcher, dressed in black in the middle position, was ruthless and placed his arms on the wheelchair iron cart. As soon as you see Yu Huatian coming out of it, step forward immediately. I was ordered by the crown prince to come and ask. Yu Weishan, what person did you catch? Heartless sister. Come in and have a cup of tea when you come. Why are you blocking someone else's back door? You know it's okay, but if you don't know, when did your heartless sister become the guard of my royal guards? There is a slight anger on the ruthless face. But still try to control your emotions. What exactly did you catch? I have to report to the Crown Prince. Captured a butler, the butler of the Wind and Rain Tower, who is currently interrogating. Did you ask anything? Currently not available. The people in Tianji Pavilion have a persistent personality and are prone to biting their tongues and committing suicide. You need to be watched closely. No, I can't bite her. I just pulled out all her teeth. With a merciless squint of his eyes, a chill welled up in his heart. Wei Xiaobao, you really know how to do things. What about the other 4 women? What 4 women? Don't pretend. As the Crown Prince said, there were 4 women in the carriage who were taken to the ghost market with him at that time. Oh, kill it. Killed. When? I died in the Wind and Rain Tower. At that time, I checked up and down in the Wind and Rain Tower. I didn't see those 4 women. You shouldn't have been a playboy again, so you took them into your own room. Heartless sister, speak with evidence and don't slander others casually. If you don't believe me, why don't you come to my bed tonight for a check-up? You. Heartless and a bit angry. Wei Xiaobao, we are currently investigating a case, can't you have a proper appearance? What should we do in a proper shape? The shape that can investigate cases is a good shape. Don't forget, you promised the Crown Prince that this case will be investigated. A gentleman's word is irrefutable. Heartless sister. Don't use this sentence to tell me, I'm not a gentleman. But since I have agreed to this matter, I will spare no effort to bring it to light. As soon as the words fell, Rain Hua Tian turned over and mounted his horse. Behind the red flying fish suit, he wore a black cloak and rose with the wind. Wei Xiaobao held the embroidered spring knife and stared at Captain Wang next to him. How many people are currently in the Royal Guard's mansion? Your Excellency, there are still 500 people here. All follow me. Yes, sir. As Yu Huatian was about to leave, he mercilessly drove the wheelchair iron cart forward a few steps and asked anxiously. Haneda, where are you going? Murder. The words fell. The rain turned the field with a flick of the whip. The dark horse quickly ran towards the distance, towards the direction of Beigu Temple. The 500 royal guards behind him also followed behind one after another. Magnificent and majestic. Black clouds dominate the city, with a strong killing intent. Chapter 6. Ambush. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The royal guards have been a special organization with astonishing power throughout dynasties. Especially in the Zhou dynasty, under the imperial authority granted by the founding emperor to the Jiang Wei. All officials are in awe of their hearts. Wei Xiaobao took the lead, with 500 soldiers and horses following behind. Approaching the city gate, more than 100 soldiers in armor stood at the east gate of the state of Zhou. Captain Wang of the Royal Guards shouted loudly from a distance, "The Royal Guards are going out of the city to handle cases. Get out of the way. The Royal Guards are out of the city to handle cases. Get out of the way." More than 100 soldiers and armor guarding the city gate scattered towards both sides. The heavy gate roars and rumbles. It has been opened. The black warhorse of Haneda, standing out from the dust, was the first to charge out of the city. He wants to go to Beigu Temple and catch this person who uses bone-transforming techniques. This case is completely declared closed. The Empress Dowager of the state of Zhou, the Xinang Palace. Grandpa Lu Shi, with a nervous expression, hurriedly walked along the path in front of the hall. Outdated, the father-in-law and maid next to each stopped and bowed their heads. Lu Shi and the people next to him ignored each other and took small steps, quickly entering the inner hall of the Xianxia Palace. What are you doing in a panic? The Empress Dowager lay on a cool chair, shaking and calmly speaking. Empress Dowager. Something happened. The Empress Dowager's fingers, adorned with many jewels and gold, gently waved. All the maids and father-in-law around have left. What happened? Just now, the city gate guards came to report that the royal guards have left the city. It's not very normal for the royal guards to leave the city. What's so surprising about it? They seem to be heading towards Beigu Temple, where Haigong is located. Haida Fu. Yes, Empress Dowager, he was on the Crown Prince's guard before. Shut up, be presumptuous. This matter has left you rotten in your stomach, how dare you speak up? I know my mistake. As you say, there are still 2 brushes in Yuation. You can quickly find Haidafu from Beigu Temple. During this time, let Haidafu hide in Beigu Temple. I didn't expect to be discovered in the end. Log in to earn coins, Empress Dowager, should I go there as a servant? What's the use of going now? This feathered field looks like it's not in its proper shape. How could it be so swift and decisive when it comes to things? We just discovered the situation, and before we heard anything, he had already rushed to Beigu Temple. Empress Dowager, it is said that he did find something in the Wind and Rain Tower, saying that this was a transaction between the Tianji Pavilion and the Western Xia Kingdom. With the help of the Crown Prince's carriage, he sent 4 women in. This Tianji Pavilion is too bold. How dare to borrow the Crown Prince's car to bring people in, completely intertwined with our arrangements on the road. Who is the person behind it? How could all these arrangements be so coincidental? It happens to be on Juke Street. When our bone-transforming soft palm attacks. He was able to send someone to take the Crown Prince and the 4 women away, and he did so quietly. At that time, the scene was the former North Town Pacification Commissioner. But when the servant went to the dungeon to ask him questions, he died cold all over. Strangely, there were no scars on his body, but his breath was indeed gone. The Empress Dowager angrily slapped her hand on the nearby table. That's too much. So many of us have been fooled by this behind-the-scenes gossip. Anyway, we can't keep this Yuation anymore. He has stirred up the situation too much. I asked you to inform the Heaven and Earth Society how things have been arranged. Report to the Empress Dowager, everything has been arranged properly. Chen Jinan, the chief helmsman of the Heavenly and Earthly Society, hates Yuation's actions to the bone. He has made a solemn oath in the Heavenly and Earthly Society to avenge his closed-door disciple Wei Xiaobao, and has already led 6 hall masters to set off. He will soon be outside Kyoto City. Moreover, Hai Gonggang himself is also a mid-level master. I estimate that if the rain turns the fields, if someone were to leave the imperial city, they wouldn't be able to come back. The mountain rain is about to come, and the wind fills the building. Hee. Kyoto's 6 gates. The reason why it is named Lufanmen is because this capital yamen, which is specifically responsible for eerie events, has 6 gates in all directions, hence its name. Lufanmen. At this moment, the innermost of the 6 doors is the grand inner hall. The 12 red carved wooden pillars are majestic. In the middle position, the eldest of the 6 gates, with Zhuge Shenhou holding his hands behind his back. Dazed by a landscape painting in front of me. In the top right corner of this landscape painting, there are 2 lines of characters written. The divine sword flies in the peach blossom shadow, and the sound of the blue sea tide blows the jade flute in no time. A catcher quickly entered the door, clasping his fists and bowing in salute. Sir, the 3 constables are here. Zhuge Shenhou did not turn around. Behind him sat the merciless dragon chair and iron carriage, the golden sword catcher chasing after life, and the ruthless and robust cold-blooded. 3 people walked in. Chasing orders, they approached, and the 4 famous captors always referred to Zhuge Shenhou as their uncle. Uncle Shi, you often stare at this landscape painting. Is there any special memory in it? Zhuge Shenhou, with his hand behind his back, took a long breath and said in a deep voice. Back then, I was ordered by the late emperor to go to the East China Sea to pursue the 4 major villains of Dali, but encountered a tidal tsunami on my way. As I was on the brink of death, I set foot on this island. The skill of dodging armor through strange doors on the island was very powerful. I wandered around the island for a whole 80 days, but couldn't get in. I have only seen a little girl around 5 or 6 years old playing by the seaside before and after. The name of the island is Peach Blossom Island, and the inscription on it is these 2 lines of poetry. Flying soared in the shadow of peach blossoms, playing jade flute with the sound of the blue sea tide. Later, I returned to the state of Zhou by chopping wood and taking a boat. Inspired by the technique of the Chimen-Duanjia mechanism on the island, I finally created these 6 gates. It has been a full 10 years since then it's passed. At this point, Zhuge Shenhou suddenly turned around. He touched his slightly graying beard and asked the 3 constables, "Where's Iron Hand?" "Uncle Shi, Iron Hand is tracking the flower-picking thief Tian Buguang in the martial arts world. He has been out for almost 2 months and has not returned yet." At this moment, a gray carrier pigeon flew in from the outside window, and its special psychic ability landed on the shoulder of Zhuge Shenhou. He extended his hand and placed the carrier pigeon in his palm, taking out the small note tied to its leg. After reading the news on the note, Zhuge Shenhou's expression turned cold and stern. He said very seriously to everyone, "These 2 days, all 6 members of the 6 gates have been staying in the government office and are not allowed to go out to handle cases. Let alone leave the city. Obey me. You guys go down first. Heartless, you stay. Chase for life and retreat with cold blood. In this grand and bright hall, only ruthlessness and Zhuge Shenhou remain." Zhuge Shenhou touched his beard with his hand and asked in a deep voice, "What are you going to do before I find you?" "Go. On behalf of the Crown Prince, investigate the case together with the royal guards. The Empress Dowager has already issued a decree to our 6 gates, and the royal guards are fully responsible for this matter. We do not want to participate. But with the Crown Prince. Stop talking, I know you and the Crown Prince have always had a good relationship, but after all, you are a minister. Currently, the Empress Dowager's power is strong in the court. Uncle Shi, I still have to report this matter to the Crown Prince. Don't go today, let alone leave the city. Stay within the yamen of these 6 gates for me. If you dare to go out, I will punish you." "Why?" "Don't ask why. Heartless, you've crossed the line. Get down. Mercilessly driving the wheelchair iron car. Leap out from the high threshold of the inner hall." Her expression was indifferent, and many question marks popped up in her heart. Chapter 7. Just hit it with your mouth. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Zhuge Shenhou has been standing in the lobby of the inner hall, watching as he mercilessly walks away. He expressionlessly patted the note in his hand onto the table. I saw the small and prominent handwriting on it. The assassins of Tianji Pavilion, Fei and Jing Wuming, led 200 people to assassinate Wei Xiaobao. Chen Jinan, the leader of the Tiandihui, led the entire gang to ambush Wei Xiaobao. Zhuge Shenhou touched his beard and murmured. The top 30 assassins in the Tianji Pavilion have rarely appeared in the martial arts world. How could they have stirred up so many people for this pacifier? Even the mid-level masters like Fei and Jing Wuming have been sent out. And Chen Jinan, after entering the Wulin League, has been hiding his strength for several years. How could he suddenly erupt and dare to lead the Heaven and Earth Society to ambush? Who is this Rain Hua Tian? The stagnant situation in the martial arts world has been stirred up by you all at once. Well, Wei Xiaobao is at most just a master in the early stages, and he probably won't live until tomorrow. The storm is coming, and the big battle is about to begin. It is about 20 miles away from the outskirts of the state of Zhou. There is a world-renowned ancient temple. Beigu Temple. This temple was originally just a sub-temple of Shaolin Temple. Under the great construction of the founding emperor of Zhou, 3 famous Buddhas were built inside. This also led to a continuous stream of incense and visitors from Beigu Temple. Yu Weishan led 500 Jinyui along the temple path, riding horses to attack. In autumn, wild geese roar and wind and rain approach. The temple is surrounded by lush forests on both sides. Yu Weishan arrived at the temple gate. I saw a sea of people on the long blue stone path in front of the temple. As soon as they saw the arrival of the genie Wei, the people began to discuss it one after another. The struggle for imperial power and the conflicts in the martial arts world have never involved temples. Why did the royal guards come here? The one at the forefront seems to be the newly appointed governor, who is said to be ruthless and domineering in the ghost market, making many people tremble with fear. Not to mention, the governor of this town looks really talented. Just looking at his appearance, it's completely unrelated to murder. Yu Weishan rode his horse and scanned around the temple. Surround Beigu Temple for me. Yes, sir. Bring people in, disperse all the pilgrims, close the back door, guard it. All the pilgrims leave through the front door. Yes, sir. Captain Wang commanded over 200 royal guards and surrounded them. Another 100 genie guards were dispatched to guard the back door of the temple. He entered the Beigu temple with 100 genie guards and began to disperse the crowd. Yu Weishan is riding on a horse and staying at the main entrance. He saw all the people who came out of the crowd. Observe their body movements and their footsteps. See if there are anyone who understands martial arts. And in Yu Huatian's heart, there is still a firm idea. Since there is a so-dot called bone transforming soft palm appearing here. So looking at the entire world of martial arts, there is a great possibility that it is Hai Dafu. Hai Dafu's appearance is clear to him in his heart. The genie Wei began to disperse the crowd inside the Beigu temple. Some ordinary people are scared when they see the royal guards, so they quickly go out one after another escape. Several white-clothed scholars in front of the mountain gate of Beigu temple had a resistant expression on their faces. They complained loudly as they walked down the stone steps. This is the holy land of Buddhism and the famous branch of Shaolin Temple in the world. It's really outrageous that your royal guards have brought people to harass you. Yu Weishan stared at the scholar who was speaking. You'd better keep your mouth shut. From now on, if you say one more word, you'll get a few slaps. Give it a try. You are the new governor of the royal guards, right? When the late emperor was alive, the court was not involved in the affairs of the martial arts world, especially in Buddhism. You surrounded this place with the royal guards. Isn't it against the way of the world? Yu Weishan looked at Captain Wang next to him. How many words did he say just now? I would like to inform you in 57 words. Pull it down and hit me, just hit me with your mouth, 57 times. I thought Yu Huatian was just a talk. After all, even the most rampant officials in this world rarely bully scholars. Scholars represent fame and also represent the future of entering the court, which is the hope for the future of the country. That's why I gave these scholars the confidence to speak up openly. Unexpectedly, the rain-turned fields in front of me were playing cards completely out of common sense. This made the other scholars pale. The tall scholar who was caught trembled in both legs, and before he could speak, he was slapped in the face by a genie guard. Next up. Captain Wang arranged for 2 royal guards on both sides to slap him in the mouth one after another. Pop 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 pop. Continuously slapping me 10 times. This scholar was already physically weak and had been knocked unconscious. Captain Wang ran up to Yu Weishan and bowed. Sir, after only slapping him 10 times, he was already unconscious. How about the rest? When you come out to wander the rivers and lakes, of course you have to be honest. If you say 57 slaps, you'll get 57 slaps. Yes, sir. Captain Wang commanded the nearby royal guards and slapped the scholar's mouth. Pop pop pop. One sound after another. A loud slap sounded in front of the gate of Beigu Temple. Many people and scholars who came out of Beigu Temple were all shocked to see. The scholars who were just shouting on the side have already fled from afar upon seeing this scene. In the crowd, a woman descended from the stone steps, with maids embracing her in front and behind. She grabbed the sides of the white skirt with both hands. Small and delicate feet stepped on the stone steps, walking step by step towards Haneda. Yuexian glanced at the woman, who was none other than Wang Yuyan. The young master of Mandala Villa and the niece of Wang Xiaoguo, the Minister of Justice of the state of Zhou. Reign young master. Wang Yuyan felt that calling her Gongzi seemed a bit inappropriate, so she changed her name. Reign Lord, my mother's birthday is today. She is far away in Mandala Villa, and I am not by her side. Come to Beigu Temple to pray for her blessings. Can you stay a little longer? No way. Yuexian calmly responded. Suddenly being coldly rejected, Wang Yuyan felt a bit uncomfortable. Can I be outside this mountain gate? Miss Yuyan, it's better for you to leave as soon as possible. I'm afraid you might splatter blood on your body. It's not peaceful here today. Wang Yuyan's eyes were slightly tense. Isn't it very dangerous here? Lord Rain, I brought the token of Uncle's Minister of Justice. Do you need me to stay and help you? No need. With a flick of his sleeve, Yuexian flipped over and jumped off his horse. With your hands behind you, walk along the stone steps towards the inside of Beigu Temple. Wang Yuyan wants to take 2 more steps forward. Unexpectedly, Yuexian suddenly turned his head and stared coldly with an eagle's eye. Hurry up and leave for me. You're so motherly, be careful I'm not polite. Say this sentence. The maid next to her was both scared and angry in her heart. But on the other hand, Wang Yuyan nervously looked around and quickly led her maid towards the distant carriage. Miss, why is Mr. Rain so fierce? Let's hurry and leave. Miss, he probably doesn't hate us, does he? You're so beautiful, and we didn't offend him. Chapter 8. All die here. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wang Yuyan immediately retorted, don't talk nonsense. Mr. Yu's indifferent attitude shows that there is definitely great danger here today. He just doesn't want me to stay and drag him down. How did you judge, miss? I've seen Mr. Rain not once or twice. He's only so indifferent when he's serious about his work. Other times, he's playful and unrestrained, and he wouldn't speak to me in such an attitude. Wang Yuyan quickly boarded the carriage with her maid and ran towards Jinling City. Yuexian enters Beigu Temple. The movement outside the temple had already been detected inside. About 30 monks lined up on the square in front of the incense burner in the entire temple. These monks each held a long stick in their hands and were wearing the same grey monk clothing. It is exactly the same as the monk Yuexian saw in the original movie and TV play. The person standing in front was dressed in a robe, but it didn't look like the host. After Yuexian entered, Captain Wang moved a stool from the side and quickly placed it behind him. Yuexian sat down in the middle of the square. Wang Xiaowei whispered softly in Yuexian's ear. Sir, I have carefully observed the surrounding walls and have not found any trace of the Sea Lord you mentioned. It is estimated that he has been hidden by the abbot. Yuexian scanned around. Find the abbot of your Beigu temple and cooperate well. I have no intention of letting the land of Buddhism flow with blood. Don't force me to think this way. Amitabha Buddha. The benefactor has led so many genie guards to surround our Beigu temple heavily. What exactly is going on? Yuexian stared at the monk with a ring scar on his head. I really don't like dealing with monks. It's just you guys talking nonsense. I clearly told you to call out the host. Are you having a problem with your brain or ears? Amitabha Buddha. Please wait a moment, benefactor. I will go and ask the abbot to come out and meet you as soon as possible. At this point, At the innermost part of the inner hall of Beigu Temple. The short host was dressed in a robe, with his hands clasped together and his steps hurried busy, walked towards a guest room inside. He looked left and right in a panic as he walked. Finally arrived at a bamboo forest. The host stepped into the bamboo forest and briskly walked about 200 meters inside, reaching a small wooden house. Hurry up, bang bang. Knocked on the door. Creaking, the door has opened. The host glanced behind him again to ensure that there was no tracking from the royal guards. He quickly stepped out of the house and walked into it. Master Hai, hurry up and leave, otherwise it will be troublesome. I can't leave. I just checked and everything around me is surrounded by the royal guards. What should we do? The person who came to the genie guard is not kind. The 30 monks in our temple are all pure and have not caused any trouble in the secular world. I feel that it must be related to you. Abbot. Hai Gong, dressed in green clothes, walked over from the room. I came to Beigu Temple to sincerely convert. You have to protect me, which is also the principle of your Buddhism. Master Hai, of course I know this. You have a connection with Buddhism, and my Buddha is compassionate. I will do my best to protect Master Hai comprehensively. Host, a peaceful place of Buddhism. No matter what, the genie Wei cannot engage in killings here. Please deal with them more and try to drive these people out of the temple. Amitabha Buddha, goodness is goodness. The host walked out of the room again. At the window of the room behind me. Hai Dafu and Hai Gonggong are leaning against the window, holding hands behind their backs. He sneered at the corners of his mouth. A small pacifier, with such great courage, dares to lead troops to Beigu Temple. Although there are few monks in this temple, it was also a place of worship that both the ancestors and ancestors liked at that time. You are really looking for death. The host walked out of the bamboo forest and hurried forward along the stone steps. Just as I arrived at the foot of the 3 great Buddhas, I saw a little monk running towards him at full speed. Host. The governor will let you go. The host arrived at the front hall and saw the densely packed royal guard standing around, instantly feeling nervous. He clasped his hands on his chest. Amitabha Buddha. Is the person here the Lord Yuetian, the governor of the royal guards? Yuetian leaned against the back of the chair, gently dragging his chin with his left hand. A calm expression. Don't talk nonsense. Hand over that wealthy man from the sea to me. Originally, Haneda only tentatively mentioned the name of Hai Dafu. Unexpectedly, the host's slightly lowered head instantly shook his expression. This also made Yuetian understand. He guessed it right. Hai Dafu is indeed in this Beigu Temple. Amitabha Buddha, Lord Rain, our Beigu Temple is a branch of Shaolin Temple. Abbot Cien and Patriarch Sandu only came here in the first half of the year. Don't talk nonsense to me, I'll just ask you, do you want to pay or not? Rain Benefactor, High Benefactor has come to our Beigu Temple with sincerity to become a monk. He is from our Beigu Temple, a peaceful place of Buddhism, and I hope. Yuetian immediately stood up and kicked up in an instant. Pop. This heavy kick hit the abbot's chest. The host himself was born into a late-stage realm, and when faced with the kick from Yuetian, he didn't resist at all. The host took 5 steps back and fell to the ground. The other monks next to him quickly came over and helped him up. Rain Benefactor, Amitabha Buddha, Buddhism is a peaceful place. I hope you don't create any more killings. I'll ask you, where is Hai Dafu? You said, you monks can all live, otherwise they will die. You have to make a choice. The host still didn't say a word. Yuetian grabbed the embroidered spring knife from the hand of the nearby guard. With a sound of miso, the embroidered spring knife unsheathed. A monk holding a stick next to him had not yet reacted when he was stabbed in the abdomen by Yuetian's knife. Shoo! The dripping blood dyed the entire monk's clothes red. At this moment, the other monks in Beigu Temple were extremely frightened. They huddled towards the corner of the wall while lifting the sticks in their hands. Miso. The Jinui brought by Yuetian also pulled out the sheaths of their swords one after another. Host. Yuetian looked at the host and smiled calmly. You don't want to see your 30 younger brothers die here, do you? Chapter 9. Kill me. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The host's heart trembled upon hearing these words. Commander-in-Chief, you are the court's official. How could you cause such slaughter? Don't talk nonsense, where are people hiding? I won't tell you. My Buddha is merciful. If you do such a thing, you will be punished by heaven. Yuetian stood up from the stool. What bothers me the most is you monks who always like to speak from the moral high ground. Don't say it, right? Okay. Rain turns the field with a snap of a finger. Kill me until he speaks. As soon as the words fell, hundreds of genie guards around rushed forward with embroidered spring knives. These monks were already small in number and felt a bit uneasy. After the real battle begins. They just realized. The stick in hand really has no effect at all. One scream after another echoed in the square of Beigu Temple. The host collapsed to the ground in agony. Stop, benefactor, stop, don't kill anymore, don't kill anymore. Rain turns the field with a wave of his hand. The movements of the royal guards stopped instantly. In just a little time, nearly 10 monks have already died on the ground. 20 monks were panicked and surrounded by the royal guards in the middle. Why do you really have to find Haidafu? He said he's just a person who sees through the world. So he wants to become a monk. You, the monk, are still so foolish at such an old age. Believe whatever others say. Haidafu is not just about seeing through the world, he has countless blood stains on his hands. The pacifier, don't talk nonsense. These days, I have had a lot of heart-to-heart conversations with Haidafu. I know his life very well. There has never been any killing or bloodstaining. The monk is really annoying. Yuetian walked forward and pointed his embroidered spring knife at the host. Where are the people? If they don't speak, everyone here will die. Behind the bamboo forest. There is a small house inside the bamboo forest. Go. Bring Haidafu over to me. No need. Suddenly, a sound came from the inner hall of the Buddhist temple. This voice is obviously the tone of a father-in-law. Yuetian looked around and saw a man in green walking out of the steps of the inner hall, chubby and boasting with a beard. The appearance is very similar to that of Haidafu in the original movie. Haidafu walks lightly, and it seems that his lightness skills should be at least 30 years old. And he had no weapons in his hands, with both hands on the side, but he was exceptionally calm. It can be seen that in TV dramas, Haidafu is an expert in using bone-transforming soft palms. So he doesn't need any other weapons. Jini Wei Zhen Fu sure, I don't know what you're asking me for. I'm just a wandering person from the martial arts world, coming here to become a monk in Beigu Temple. Haidafu, Haigonggong. You really know how to hide. So many people in the palace don't even know that there is someone like you, and now you're hiding in this northern temple pretending to be your grandson. What is the pacifier talking about? I don't understand. What kind of sea lord? I have already said it, I am a wandering hero in the martial arts world. If you have to admit it, that's too simple. Wait until I kill you, peel off your clothes, and you'll know. You. Governor, how could you be so rude? What do you mean to me? What's going on? Do you know how to transform bones into soft palms? I'll take a look at it. Hua Gu Mian Zhang. The pacification envoy is just a bunch of nonsense. This kind of martial arts disappeared from the martial arts world 10 years ago. How could Haidafu possibly do it? The host who was kicked to the ground by Yuetian just now also got up from the ground. He seemed to feel guilty for not protecting Hai Da Fu well. So at this moment, he interjected once again. Amitabha Buddha, Lord Yu, the pacification envoy, please turn your back on the shore of the endless sea of suffering, and do not wrongly accuse good people or indiscriminately kill innocent people. Upon hearing these words, Yu Weixian's eyes turned cold. He just flew up again. With a loud bang. It hit the head of this host. The strong internal strength pushed the host backwards by 10 meters, causing him to fall onto the steps and vomit blood uncontrollably. Always Amitabha Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, Amitabha sister. There is no such thing as killing in this world. Everything in the world is meant for the strong to survive, and the weak to die. The host was helped up by other monks. He spat blood at the corner of his mouth and pointed his finger at Yu Weixian, but was choked by the blood. I can't even say a word with my mouth. When Hai Da Fu looked at the rain-turned fields, he couldn't even bring in oil and salt. And killing without blinking an eye is very brutal. At this moment, he also began to mutter in his heart. Rain Hua Tianyu, you are in the early stage of the master's realm. I, Hai Da Fu, have reached the middle stage of the master's realm, and I hope we can turn our swords into jade and silk. Don't have to fight to that point, it will be bad for anyone. Yu Weixian's cold gaze turned and stared at Hai Da Fu. At this moment, the sound of the system suddenly rang out in my mind. Ding, congratulations to the host for disregarding the principles of righteousness and using violent means to subdue the talkative Shaolin monk. The act of tyranny is in line with the actions of the villain. Reward the host to upgrade their cultivation to the mid-level of the master. Level increase brings comprehensive improvement in body method, internal power, strength, agility, etc. How is it? Lord Rain. I have reached the mid-level of the Grandmaster, and you are only in the early stage of the Grandmaster. I hope we can. Hai Da Fu's sentence has just reached this point. I saw the embroidered spring knife in Yu Weixian's hand suddenly flick and kill him. The speed shocked the other monks and the royal guards present. Just as Yu Weixian made his move, Hai Da Fu's eyes widened and he was immediately very surprised. How could that be? You were clearly in the early stage of the master's realm just now, how could that be? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Did you just hide your realm? Why isn't it just an instant breakthrough? How could it be? Hai Da Fu is very shocked. In the blink of an eye. Yu Weixian, holding the embroidery spring knife, had already chopped it off the head of Hai Da Fu. In a hurry, Hai Da Fu quickly raised his palm to confront Yu Weixian. He slapped it. The strong internal force turns into white true qi and beats towards the rainflower field. This kind of true qi is familiar to Yu Huatian. When Yu Weixian was above the court, he used Huagu's soft palm. When using palm wind, the soft and yin energy will dissipate into white mist. Captain Wang also recognized this at a glance. With this palm from Hai Da Fu, he has already demonstrated to everyone that he himself is skilled at transforming bones into soft palms. However, the observant Captain Wang had long noticed that the bone-transforming soft palm produced by Hai Da Fu had a very short duration of white mist true energy remaining in the air. There is a significant difference from the Huagu's soft palm that Yu Weixian hit on Zhou Huan's body before. The more Hai Da Fu hits, the more shocked he becomes in his heart. He originally thought that Yu Weixian had only used some kind of secret technique and forcibly elevated his martial arts to the mid-level of the master during the battle. But while fighting, he suddenly realized. Rain turns the field and the wind and clouds remain calm. And each move is exquisitely executed. The more he fought, the weaker his confidence in being able to escape from Beigu Temple. Hai Da Fu didn't want to be caught, and the fact that he knew how to turn his bones into soft palms was exposed to the court. At that time, the Empress Dowager's face will be very ugly, and his family members of Hai Da Fu will completely die without a place to bury themselves. Hai Da Fu has made up his mind. No matter how much it costs, he will plant the bone-transforming palm on Yuexian's body. Even if we all perish together. Hai Dafu was also considered dead and closed his eyes in peace. Hai Dafu flew into the air, swinging his hands in front of his chest. He mobilized the true qi in his meridians and poured it all into his right palm. When the Hideyoshi sword from Yuexian struck at his abdomen, Hai Dafu turned around and dodged the embroidered spring knife. He suddenly slapped his right palm towards Yuexian's chest. At this moment, he had full confidence that he could plant the long bones on Yuexian. But I never thought of it. Yuexian's reaction speed is faster than him. Rain Huatian swung his sword and took a step forward, clapping his left palm with the flow. Pop. Two palms facing each other. His right hand embroidered spring knife slashed through Hai Dafu's abdomen. In an instant, Hai Dafu's abdomen is covered in blood. A terrifying opening appeared, revealing flesh and blood. Hai Dafu painfully fell from mid-air. Chapter 10. Ambush on all sides. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hai Dafu grabbed his abdominal wound with his left hand. But with a smile of schadenfreude on his face. Yuexian, I have long heard of your arrogance and I have also heard of you thoroughly investigating this case. But today you're done, you hit my bone-melting soft palm, and you'll soon turn into a pool of blood. Even if I die, I'm still worth it. Yuexian walked up to Hai Dafu with his embroidered spring knife. Dr. Hai was heavily stabbed in the abdomen, his skin and flesh splitting open, and blood flowing. He couldn't exert any effort at all. I saw the embroidered spring knife piercing through the rain-transforming fields. With a whoosh, inserting it into his dantian, Hai Dafu cried bitterly. His face turned pale, with veins bulging at the temples on his forehead, and he was sweating profusely. The sword of Yuexian inserted into dantian completely destroyed his internal skills. Yu Huatian wasted Hai Dafu's internal skills before happily asking. So, according to this, the Crown Prince's 10 guards were injured by your bone-transforming soft palm a while ago. Are you still in the mood to investigate the case at this time? The pacifier. Shouldn't you leave your last words and quickly find a better burial place for yourself? Rain turns the fields with force. He inserted the embroidered spring knife into Hai Dafu's dantian and pulled it horizontally, cutting it to the left on Hai Dafu's belly. Shushi. A large amount of blood gushed out, causing Hai Dafu to be devastated by the pain. Are you saying it or not? Did you fight those 10 guards? I won't say anything even if I die. Yuexian, you kill me and bury me together. Yuexian pulled the embroidery spring knife out of his stomach. His devilish face carried a hint of sneer. It seems that you haven't been in contact with your master for a while now. Haven't you heard about it? Can I also transform my bones into soft palms? What? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Only I escaped from the divine dragon sect. How could you possibly transform your bones into soft palms? Hai Dafu doesn't believe it at all. He still thinks that Yuexian is just deceiving him. However, after 2 breaths, Dr. Hai suddenly felt a painful sensation on his face, burning like flames. He reached out and touched his left face, only to see it start emitting a sizzle from the inside out. The sound was loud and white smoke emanated. Blood and flesh gradually turned into blood and flowed down his neck and abdomen. Ah! Ah! That's impossible. Hai Dafu is like going crazy. I am the only one who can transform my bone into soft palms. How could you possibly do that? And why does your bone into soft palms only break out in such a short period of time? Why? What a fool. I don't know how your master would let a fool like you come out to carry out a mission. Hai Dafu, the palm you slapped on my hand was completely powerless, and it was completely wiped out by my palm wind. Isn't it a bit like dying in peace? I don't agree, I don't agree. I was wrong. You saved me, Lord Rain, you save me, I promise you, I'll tell you the truth, I promise you. You agreed now. But I don't want to hear it anymore. You better go to hell. Anyway, if you find someone who can transform bones and soft palms, these cases will also be resolved. It's really related to my bullshit. Ah. Hai Dafu was writhing on the ground, holding his face in agony. His entire head began to sizzle and turn into blood, causing fear in the hearts of the nearby monk. His true chi in his 5 organs and 6 viscera has been scattered by the rain. He was supported by 2 monks and persisted in taking 2 steps forward. Amitabha Buddha, Rainbow Benefactor. Everything has a spirit, please do not let him suffer so much. Using this bone-melting soft palm is truly the work of a demon, not my righteous path. You are such a timely rain host. This sea tycoon can melt his bones and soften his palms. Why didn't you tell me when he killed someone before? Amitabha Buddha, when will justice be avenged? My Buddha is merciful. Please, rain benefactor. Wei walked towards the host. The 3 monks who were supporting the host next to them all retreated towards the side in fear. Host, since you feel that Hai Dafu is in such pain, why don't you share some of it with him and empathize with him? The words fell. Rain Huatian's right palm suddenly snapped out. Exquisite technique. The thick internal power and true chi spewed out from above. Pop. The bony soft palm hit the host's chest straight. Rain Huatian's bone-melting soft palm has been trained to a level of mastery. As long as his internal strength and true chi are below him, he can basically achieve a 1-palm kill. Moreover, the timing of the onset of the Hua Gu Mian palm can also be controlled by Rain Huatian. In the blink of an eye, the host hugged his face in agony. His head began to turn into blood and water bit by bit on the top. Rain donor, please. Please. Our Beigu temple originated from Shaolin temple. Please spare the monks, this matter has nothing to do with them. Who said it's irrelevant? Wei said calmly. At the beginning, I told you that as long as you hand over the person to me, I won't make things difficult for you, but you won't listen. I told you back then that you were responsible for the consequences. Since we come out to wander the world, we must keep our promises. I said I want you to pay the price, then you must pay the price, otherwise where will I put my face in the rain, rain donor, after all, we are monks from Shaolin Temple. You can't do this. Shaolin Temple. In my eyes, Shaolin Temple is nothing. Whoever stands in front of me will die. You're really a demon, you're a demon. Wei smiled. Host, before your eyes turn into bloodshed, let me show you how you brought disaster to the beings in Beigu Temple. Wei waved his hand towards the surrounding Jiang Wei and said coldly. Kill them all. Rain Huatian threw his sleeve and walked straight towards the door with his back behind him. At this moment, the interior of Beigu Temple is like hell. The remaining nearly 20 monks from Beigu Temple were all surrounded and killed by the genie guard. The host lying on the ground, his body gradually turning into blood and water, until his eyes completely dissipated, he couldn't figure it out. Why on earth is this? Wei walked to the mountain gate of Beigu Temple. The vast bamboo forest in front of me sways gently in the gentle breeze. Make a rustling sound. It seems to be no different from usual. But as a spy in his past life, Wei keenly sensed that the surroundings of this bamboo forest were filled with murderous intent. One wave just calmed down, another wave rises again. Yu Huatian said to Wang Xiaowei next to him. Gather all the genie guards in formation and walk towards the back door of Beigu Temple. Hurry up. Yes, sir.